Hello, my name is Harton Botko. I'm not Annette Blan, and I'm not going to be moving my hair as it says in the picture in the opening. Annette's abroad, but she'll be right back. And meantime, for this program, I'll be hosting for you. Our guest is Louis Biraugo, Barok Biraugo. The topic is the anti-dynasty petition, which was filed to the COMELEC, eventually went all the way to the Supreme Court, and we'll continue with the PowerPoint presentation that we started in the first half. Louis, it's your show.
Okay. Now I showed the salient points of the ruling in Manila Prince Hotel versus GSIS. Now let's go to something that is really very interesting. Now I am flashing on the screen COMELEC's role. It is stated in the Constitution in Article 9. COMELEC has the power and function to enforce and administer all laws relative to the conduct of elections in the country. And I remind you, some people are mistaken that the Constitution is not a law. It is the fundamental law of the land.
It is the fundamental. I agree.
Okay. Number two, COMELEC is authorized to resolve all contests relating to the qualifications of all elective officials.
Sila absolute authority.
Yes.
Sila dapat.
Yeah. And that is the reason why they can declare some candidates nuisance candidates.
And drop them from the roster, period.
Yes. And my question now is, why can they not do it with a
Dynasty.
Provision that
Yes.
is in the fundamental law of the land?
Keep going. It's your show. I'm enjoying it.
Now, again, my petition has been dismissed by the Supreme Court. They say that the constitutional provision relied upon in the Manila Prince Hotel case does not expressly require an enabling law. And I will flash in the next screen that constitutional provision. Okay. This is Section 10, Article 12 of the Constitution. This, okay. What happened here, Harry, is that there is a Filipino first policy in the Constitution, and they were bidding out, the 51% of the shares of stocks of Manila Hotel.
Yeah, I remember this.
Okay, natalo ang
Malaysians, di ba?
natalo ang Pinoy.
Natalo ang Pinoy, binigay sa Malaysians.
Okay. And then the Pinoy went to the Supreme Court.
Tama.
Okay. They say that tapatan namin yung bid offer. And because we are Filipinos,
Kami una.
kami una. Okay. So, in Section 10, and they relied upon this provision in the Supreme Court. And if you notice, okay, I will just read. I'll read Section 10, Article 12.
Yes.
Congress shall, upon recommendation of the Economic and Planning Agency, when the national interest dictates, reserve to citizens of the Philippines or to corporation or associations at least 60% of those capital is owned by such citizens, or such higher percentage as Congress may prescribe, certain areas of investments. The Congress shall enact measures that will encourage the formation and operation of enterprises whose capital is wholly owned by Filipinos. Now, here comes the very crucial paragraph. In the grant of rights, privileges, and concessions covering the national economy and patrimony, the state shall give preference to qualified Filipinos. It did not say all Filipinos.
Qualified.
Now, how do you define qualified Filipinos, Harry?
Good point.
And yet, in this case, the Supreme Court said, Congress, if you fail to enable this, we will.
They will legislate.
They will legislate. Because it is incumbent upon us as a member of the three equal branches of government.
I see the point of view. I see.
Para-paras tayo dito, Pogi. Tatlo tayo. Ngayon, kung dumating sa amin ng kaso, sa amin ang bola.
Correct.
We will now,
Kung ayaw nyo gawin,
kami.
kami titira. Good, good. Sige.
Okay. They were playing the heroes then. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's go to the oath of office of some of those who are going around and saying that there is nothing wrong with political dynasties. Okay. Before somebody becomes, let's say for example, the Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines, he must qualify. No. Under the Constitution, there are qualifications. And then, he must be voted upon.
May mandato.
Okay. And then, he is proclaimed the winner. And lastly, he will not be able to sit as Vice President if he does not swear into office. And what does he say? He says, I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and conscientiously fulfill my duties as, for example, Vice President of the Philippines, preserve and defend its Constitution, execute its laws, do justice to every man, and consecrate myself to the service of the nation. So help me God. So, sa harap ng Diyos at sa harap ng taong bayan, sinabi nung isang nanumpa bilang Vice Presidente na itataguyod ko at ipagtatanggol ko ang
Constitution.
prohibition
Correct.
against political dynasties because that provision is part of the Constitution. How can you become, there is when I started this presentation, I said, you become a public official and the Constitution binds you. Job description, term of office, term of reference, do's and don'ts, and infrastructure. It's as if you become an employee of a corporation. Let's just say, for example, that that person became an employee of McDonald's.
Correct.
Okay? And he starts selling, and he starts saying, oh, hindi masarap ang aming binibenta dito.
Bumili
kayo doon sa kabila.
Sa Jollibee kayo mamili. Parang ganun.
Do you think that that is proper? And do you think that that corporation that employs that kind of an employee would be better served? Hindi kaya mababangkarote yung korporasyon na yon?
Of course.
Hindi kaya lulubog ang korporasyon na yon dahil yung nanumpa na itataguyod at ipagtatanggol ay hindi ginagawa ang katungkulan.
Correct. So the swearing by itself has already bound the very violators who stand today in front of us, saying first that they are patriotic, democratic, and they follow the Constitution, only to break it from the very oath that they take.
Yes.
Okay.
And they do it in public.
That's the bad part.
And they do it in media. As if to tell everybody that there's nothing wrong with us saying something against the very document that they swore to in front of God and in front of the people. How can that be? How can we tolerate that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Oh, that ends the presentation.
Okay. Now, Louis, the problem is, alam mo, mga politiko, for example, the RH bill. Dito, when they were giving in Congress, when they were making their presentations, when they forwarded their votes, the first thing they were saying is, ako Katoliko, pero hindi ako, sang-ayon ako sa RH bill, knowing fully well that the leader of the church, being the Pope himself, ang Santo Papa, ang nagsabi na tutol sila sa RH bill. And yet, they have the audacity to say, first and foremost, Katoliko ako, and then this being the case. When I was watching them, sa loob-loob ko, hindi na namamangka kayo sa dalawang ilog. Sana, kung gano'n nangyari, bitawan mo muna reliyon mo, change your faith if necessary. Ayaw mo sumunod sa leader natin. In this case, the leader being the Constitution, not necessarily the President. But the problem is, Louis, what do we do when we have become imprisoned by the very violators who are, what they say, the law, in this case, the Supreme Court and the COMELEC? What where are we and what options remain?
Well, that is the reason why I filed this case. I knew that there was a very big chance that the case would be disregarded.
Alam mo na yun, even
Alam
when...
ko yun.
okay.
That there was really a chance, big chance. But then, here comes your question. I did so, even if losing was a big chance, because I wanted to ventilate the issues to the public. I wanted to fulfill my advocacy of serving and not necessarily occupying a public office.
Interestingly enough, it is not just one department of government, because other than the three independent branches, you have the fourth, which is an independent constitution, which is called the COMELEC. And it seems the COMELEC likewise is playing pass the ball to me, and I'll pass it back to you. Parang ganun na nangyari niyan. Now, we have an election that's coming up. And what makes it worse is, talagang in the Senate race, I've never seen so much violation or the audacity of all these candidates who are mother, brother, sister, whatever, brother.
Yes.
Lahat sila magkakamag-anak, harap-harap, sabay-sabay. What do you make out of this, and how do you feel in a, in a situation like this where the COMELEC allows it, plays ball, the judiciary allow it, play ball, the executive obviously being part and parcel of it, the legislative and the contestants being the very same violators? Where does that leave the people? Hindi ba parang kawawa ang Pilipino, ang taong bayan? Pero ano mangyayari? Pero hindi ba kaya the ultimate power would still be with the voter? Say, hindi, wag natin iboto itong mga to. Is it their fault when they vote these violators into office?
Well, I could not call it their fault. It is their right to vote.
But their right to vote, the violators, who they know are dynastic by nature. Kanyari, local. Mas malala kasi sa local to eh. Malala na sa Senado. In the old days, in the many congresses, in the many elections, sa local lang natin nakikita yan eh. Pero sa national, hindi masyado. Ngayon talaga, well, all the way to the presidency na. Now, let's go to the local. Noon, magkakamag-anak si mayor, si vice mayor, si councilor, halos ang buong pamilya nasa politiko at nananalo, election after election after election. There are families who've been there 60, 70 years,
Yes.
and who made career out of politics.
Yes.
They've made their careers. They're invested. They're vested. And their children's children. Ngayon, we even have one that go into lumalaban, the Villafuerte clan. Di ba sila ngayon, nag-aaway-aaway na nga eh. Hindi kaya ang nagkakamali dito, yung taong bayan, kasi binoboto sila.
Well, in the final analysis,
It is, isn't
it is. And that's the reason why we're trying to educate them. We're trying to share some of our ideas so that what is making them suffer, just like what you quoted earlier, si Mahathir. Mahathir has zeroed in on our politics. That
He has.
it would change, that the Filipinos would behave differently when they know what is at stake. Because right now, I know that everybody is aware that our political campaign is just like entertainment. Parang hindi masyado alam ng mga tao.
But it is. There is no legislative agenda being promoted in
Yes.
30 seconds. How can you promote anything in 30 seconds and
Yes.
pay 500,000 a pop? Hindi, di ba? Parang gano'n, hindi pwede. I don't hear legislative proposals. It's all motherhood statements. It's,
Yes.
gusto ko, masaya ka. Gusto ko, busog ka. Puro motherhood eh. Wala naman, ang gagawin natin, tatayuan natin ang kalye mula Maynila hanggang Lawag or another access road or lalagyan natin itong mga tulay. May mga legislative agenda na talagang
that
gusto
is only
gawin.
staff work.
Oo, but at least,
When somebody becomes a senator, the concerns of the citizenry are delegated to
technical working group, sa mga tabi.
the staff.
Pero hindi naman yung staff ang binoto natin eh. Dapat yung
Yes.
representative. But, okay, our politics have deteriorated as far as this violation is concerned. We have violated this piece of legislation not only in the 25 years, but since the birth of the Republic.
Yes.
We all know. And we have had to pay for it because we are now the sick man of Asia, coming from number 2 next to Japan. Even after reparations from America, it just wasn't good enough and we caused our downfall. Where do you see us going after this election? Do you think mas lalala? Anong base mo? The other day, I heard Mr. Gosson of Channel 7 saying,
Sa
yung
tingin
mga
ko, lalala.
lalala.
Lalala. Ah, hindi lang nila alam kung gaano sana kaganda at kalakas ng bayan natin. Kasi mga matatalino at magagaling ang mga Pilipino. Meron lang sakit ang ating lipunan. At kailangan tugunan natin yan. We have to address that. Otherwise,
How do you propose a remedy or what pill, bitter pill do you propose to fix the Filipino political scenario? Knowing the situation the way it is.
that is not a very easy question to answer. Of course, no?
Mahathir says very clearly, understand your freedoms. In this democracy that you all promote, freedoms is a right, a privilege that it has to be earned. Not like the way we do it, we want it all. This is what it's given us.
Freedom first before other things.
Obviously in his case, because sila, autocratic sila, Singapore, di ba? Malaysia.
Yes.
But
Actually,
it's paid off. It's paid off economically.
yes.
And the people are disciplined. Wala tayong disiplina, alam mo naman yung mas lalo na sa probinsya. I call it the oppression of the majority, or what I call the masses. Because they don't care. They are watching the carrot and stick situation, and they want to get rewards on TV programs. That's all they watch for, rather than listening to talk programs like this, to hear and justify or to fight for their rights. Diba? Unlike you stand up to do this. And you're not after a specific interest to promote yourself or to get paid or rewarded. But sila, they don't even do that. They don't even promote themselves as their right. And they vote these powers that continue to mutate while they're in government.
Well, Harry, it is my opinion that I have been paid already. I've been born into this great nation, and my advocacy, the efforts that I'm putting in now is my way of returning what has been given me. Now, it is also my way of investing in the future of my children. Kung hindi man darating sa panahon ko, sana naman sa panahon ng mga anak ko, magkakaroon tayo ng Pilipinas na talagang yung karapat-dapat sa talino at galing ng mamamayan ng Pilipinas, ng bansang ito.
Louis, we're at the top of the hour and we have to end the show. It's been very interesting to have you in the presentation. I am glad you're able to present it in this organized and systemic format. Last few words to our viewers as we close the show.
Okay. My dear countrymen, forge on. Pagpatuloy niyo yung laban. Wala namang, hindi naman si Mahathir ang pwedeng magbago ng bansa natin, kundi tayo. Hindi naman si Pinoy na ating public servant ang magbabago ng bansa natin kung hindi tayo. Kaya, make sure that if you're not able to do something that is as grand and momentous as what you would want, kahit na kukonti lang po, magbigay tayo ng konting tulong sa kinabukasan ng ating bansa para na po rin ito sa lahat natin, sa atin.
Thank you very much, Louis Beraugo. Ladies and gentlemen, social responsibility need not be limited to corporate. There is personal social responsibility. There is what we call being a body politic that requires all of us Filipinos and civil society to do and perform our roles. On behalf of Annette Ablan and her show, Icons and Circles, we presented to you this program we hope has helped you one way or another to revive, refresh, or what do we call it? Refresh. It was a computer, refresh. Pag mihina na, refresh. A reboot if necessary. Your social responsibility to your country. Maraming salamat po. My name is Harry Tambuatco. Thank you very much, Mr. Braulio.
Thank you very much, Harry.